Hi, my beautiful loves. It's Charlotte from Perfect Shade Cosmetics. I hope you guys are resting and subscribing to my YouTube channels. Today, I have something exciting for you. It's much requested. I have lots of queries. The live tutorials I did on Facebook just didn't do it for the ladies. So today, I'm focusing on eyebrows. So it's all about the brows. Brows gives you definition, it lifts your eyes, it gives you symmetry, and it just, completes the whole eye makeup look. So if you had to do eyeshadow without your brows being defined, it just looks completely incomplete. So I'm going to be introducing you to the 3 products that you can use according to your preference and taste, according to how you want your brows defined, whether you want it really simple and light, whether you want it really defined with the brow tattoos, or whether you want something that's in between with the brow cream. So the 3 products, you can have either a black eyeshadow, a matte black or brown eyeshadow to define. We have brow creams. These are available at Perfect Shade Cosmetics. I've got them in 4 different shades: dark brown, black, blonde, and an in-between. And then I have my favorite, which is the brow tattoo for the lady that doesn't want too much of fixing on a daily basis, because this is waterproof and stays on between 3 and 5 days if applied properly. So I'm going to carry on and recap with what I did yesterday and prepare my face, starting from the priming stage. And when we get to brows, I'm going to do it in depth. So I'm going to apply my primer on the whole face. So prior to this, you would have applied your sunblock. So really get the primer in, especially into those areas that's prone to oiliness. I tend to get very dry on my forehead and under my eyes. So I've got combination skin, but around my mouth, where there's a lot of movement, I tend to break out a lot here. So I'm really going to get the primer in here. I also don't want it to move on my neck and body because I'm using an off-the-shoulder dress today. So try not to inhale too much when you're getting the primer in. You can, if you're a bit claustrophobic or have breathing problems, it can get a bit much because it's super fine. Next step is my corrector. Just leave it on the skin, don't blend it in. I'm just cleaning my brush before I apply my foundation. Using the same corrector brush, I'm going to dot on my foundation on the whole face, starting from the forehead. Do your lines, come down to your nose. I'm using beige 2. I'm ready to do a detailed tutorial on brows. So I'm going to start off with just brushing my brows away first, just with a normal brush, just to get them into the shape that they naturally are growing into. I was not blessed with brows. Somehow over the years, I seem to have lost a lot more than I should have. And it was not from over plucking or over threading or over waxing, because I never had much brows to begin with. So if you have scanty brows like mine, and I've just cleaned them up in this lockdown period, I do maintain my own brows. So I just plucked out with my tweezer, just a normal tweezer, around the actual hairline, just to clean around it. And I also do thread myself as well. So that's the only way I can maintain it. So to get the perfect brows, hold any straight brush or ruler or pencil just to measure, because it is the measurement and the symmetry that is so important. So first things first, where it starts off, it needs to be in line with the inner corner of your eye. So if you hold a brush or anything that's straight like this, it needs to start off where your brush is in line with the inner corner of your eye. Your arch needs to be in line with the iris, which is your colored part of your eye, the outer part of it, and where it ends needs to be in line with the corner of your eye and your nose. So if you hold something straight like that, you can see mine is short, so that's where I need to do my corrections. So if you're holding it straight here, it needs to be in line. You can see one side is a little bit higher, my left side is a little bit higher, so I'm going to do some corrections there. Where it ends, you've got to have this imaginary rectangular block in the center. That's your guideline. So if you want, you can even put some dots just to get it in place. And then your arch needs to be in line on both sides. So I'm going to help you guys do this. I'm going to do dots, and we're going to join the dots from there onwards. Right, so we're going to straighten. So I'm going to do my dot here and there, and do a dot there so you can see, and my fourth dot there, because I need to do a little bit of correction on my left side. And then you're going to do dots where your arch needs to be. That's my dots there, and then I'm going to end it off here and end it off there, actually a little bit further on this side, so that it is in line with this part of your eye and in line here. So that's what you can do with your pencil liner or even your stamp liner. Next, I'm going to use my brow tattoo, because that's my choice of brow definition product. Now, the beauty about this is you can also line your eyes underneath, and it will stay on for a few days. This has been tried and tested, and I can definitely vouch for it. So I'm going to dip my brow brush. So it's important that you have a brush like this. With our brow creams, it does come with a small brush that is angled and a precision brush. And then on the other side, it's got a little smudging thing where you can use to smudge underneath, or even smudging the brow cream on your brows. So I'm going to start off with the arch first. So never plonk a whole lot of color here first, because then you take like 10 to 15 minutes just to blend it out, and that's just a waste of time. So always start from a central point, which is from the arch. So I do my line at the bottom first, and I'm not going to talk when I'm doing it, because then my mouth is moving and then my hands are moving, and that's how you tend to get brow cream or brow tattoo everywhere. Okay, so I'm pointing the pointy part of the brush downwards, and then I'm going to do a line at the top and then join it with the edge. And I'm building my color gradually. I don't want to put a whole lot of brow tattoo in, because it generally dries quickly and it's hard to blend. So the brow tattoo is for people that have experience with brows, not for a newbie. So I would suggest that you start off with the brow cream and the brow powders first if you don't have experience with brows, and then work your way up to the tattoo when you're a bit more experienced. So hold your brushes like this, hold your tattoo in your hand, try to juggle 3 things at the same time if you can. I'm still focusing on here, and then from here I'm just going to flick it upwards. So it gives you a faded look at the top of your brow and not a solid look, because that's not the look I'm going for today. Flick it up right up to the dot that I put there. If you have any gaps in your brows or it's looking a bit faint, you can always just start off with my second side. I'm getting product on all sides of the brush, making sure it's really coated well. And then I'm doing my line first at the bottom, line at the bottom of your brow. And then I'm going to do my brow arch. So use a corner of the brush at the dot where the arch is. See, like that. So you have your edge like that, if that makes any sense to you. Okay, really getting it down there to the dot in a fine point. Going back and doing another line, building my second layer, and then flicking upwards. If you have unsteady hands, just steady it with your left hand if you're right-handed. If you are left-handed, steady it with your right hand. So I just find that helps with keeping it steady and getting nice precise lines. And even if you do make mistakes, it's okay. That's what the foundation is there for, and you can just erase around it with your concealer and your foundation with a precision brush. Okay, so I might not go as high as the dot, but just below it. And then you look at both your brows. You look where you need to fix. So always look in quick succession on both sides. And any imperfections or asymmetry will just jump out at you. So just quickly look from left to right, and then I know what I need to fix. Go, and then from this point I'm just going to go in a straight line, and the rest of it I'm going to fix with brow powder and erasing around it with a flat brush, flat concealer brush, and my foundation. I'm going to use a bit of black and a bit of brown, matte black or matte brown eyeshadow or eyebrow powder, just to define here, or any bits that didn't catch any product. Normally when you have scars or stitches around your brows, product tends to just slide off, which is why I love the tattoo so much, because it really sticks on those areas if you have scar tissue. And it's probably the one product that I've actually tried for brows that actually does not slide off sutures or scar tissue. I'm just going to flick upwards. Now I'm using the brown on the inner corner because I don't like the hard man brows. That's what you want to call it. Yeah, that's not our aim. Man brows is not our aim when you're doing brows. Okay, so I'm going to use my concealer brush. If you can find it in this medley of brushes on my table. I just used it. There we go. So just some foundation. And I'm going to give this the perfect shape. That's the brush I'm looking for. So you've got to use something that's a precision brush. And I'm going to take off any excess lines here. And I'm going to leave this unsealed because I'm going to do my highlighter on my brows and complete my eye makeup. Just going to take off that line sorry, the dot, and getting these 2 points where they need to be. Removing any excess if you've colored out of the lines here. Making sure they're straight, and I've already contoured my nose, so I will just touch up if I've lost any product there. Taking this dot out, straight lines. So a little bit more about brows. If you have a small forehead, don't go too high because then you're making the area a little bit smaller. You should go in proportion to the size of your face. So always define your brows according to the size of your face. The bigger your face and the bigger your forehead, the more defined you can go with your brows. But if you've got a small face, then try and keep it small and in proportion. Okay, so I seem to have it on point. And now I'm going to seal around my brows with powder. Still using the concealer brush, smaller areas, smaller brushes. Then I'm going to touch up the top part of my contour on my nose, just extending it up to my brows. Blending the tip of my nose a bit. Taking away the length by contouring the tip. But remember, today it's all about brows, so let's focus on that. Next, I'm going to just clean underneath my eyes with powder. And I'm going to apply highlighter, which is the number 8 powder, using my eyeshadow brush. Just going to get all this product off. Okay, so I've left that unsealed. It just gives your brows an elegant lift and creates a space for eyeshadow. Okay, so I'm just applying the highlighter on my inner corner because that's where I'm a bit sunken as well. So this is the number 8 powder. Remember, it's a setting powder as well as a highlighter. If you want really intense highlighting, you can use it straight on with a wet sponge on your cheekbones, on your forehead, and all the areas where you want to highlight, which I'm going to be doing more in depth on tomorrow. My next tutorial is going to be on highlighting and contouring and knowing where to highlight and contour. Just brushing away any product that falls anywhere where it's not supposed to be. Okay, so that's what your brows needs to look like. Highlight it, and just going to touch up if there's any product on the brows. You just take your brow powder and sweep it away. Okay, I am OCD about brows, so I really spend a lot of time with it, and I think you should too, because it just gives you, it just makes your face look more symmetrical. That's the first thing people look at is your brows. Well, that's for me anyway. Next, I'm going to do some basic eyeshadow, and I'm going to put on lashes. I'm using the Baked Eyeshadow number 5, just to give a bit of definition and shading on my socket line. So I'm going to apply some foundation first so that it catches on nicely on the whole lid, and then I'm going to do liner and lashes. Okay, so from the outer, just work your way in. Slight definition, not too much, just to flow with the rest of today's look. Baked eyeshadow, because the focus, as I mentioned, is on brows and nothing else. This is just foundation that I'm applying on the lid just to hold the baked eyeshadow. The baked eyeshadow range is quite a subtle range, but you can intensify it with a cream concealer or a cream foundation. So just in your crease from outer to inner, I've actually used this baked eyeshadow for my cheeks as well to cut. Okay, so just make sure your shading color is in the same place on both sides. I'm very big on versatile products and not just using one product only for that use. So this is the baked eyeshadow that I use on the cheeks, and you can use it to contour the nose if you want a very vibrant contour. Now I'm using the number 8 powder again on the inner corner of the eye, layering it just to bring out the sunkenness. And I'm going to shade underneath my eyes with the same baked eyeshadow as well. But before I do that, I want to show you how versatile our brow creams are. So I'm using the number 3 brow cream with the brush, and I'm going to line underneath my eyes, and this is just going to hold and intensify the baked eyeshadow so much more. So I'm just going to shade on the outside. And if you have small eyes, try to not line it all the way on the inner corner, because that just makes your eyes look smaller. If you want a softer line, you can line the top of your lids, but I'm going to use a stamp liner to finish off this look. Okay, so this is still the brow cream underneath, and I'm just tapering it to frame the top part of the lid. I'm going to stop short of the inner corner, not go all the way. And then I'm going to use the baked eyeshadow over the brow cream. And it just sticks on and really holds. So that's going to hold your liner or anything that you apply underneath your eyes for the entire day, because you've got a cream base to hold it, which is your brow cream. So that's what makes our brow cream so versatile, is that you can use it on your brows, you can use it to lightly frame your eyes, you can use it as a primer to hold any eyeshadow underneath your eye. So I just love that it's so versatile. Okay, so if you like this look underneath, that's what you need to do. Next, I'm going to do my stamp liner. Starting from the outer, so what I'm going to do first is just put 2 dots so that I know it's going to end in the same place on both sides. Use the tip to get really close to the lashes. flick outwards using the tip. We do have the stamp side, but I like to really go way out with my liner. And I am going to smudge that a bit as well with my brow powder to give me a more defined smudged liner look. Fill any gaps with the tip of your stamp liner. You can also use this underneath your eyes, but because I've already shaded, then I'm not going to be using this as my liner for underneath the eyes today. That's the look I want to go for, not overly done. It's not the Moroccan look today, it's more of a subtle smoky eye. Before I smudge underneath or on top, I am going to just prepare my lashes with lash glue and wait for it to get a little bit tacky so that by the time I'm done smudging my eyes and applying my mascara, it will be ready for application. So just putting on my glue from ends to end with a brush. Okay, make sure you really get the lashes, the strip side of it, coated with glue, especially the outer and inner corners. And again, there's fluff on my lashes, and I wonder where that came from. Kimmy has definitely been on my table. Okay, next I'm going to smudge with my precision brush. Actually, not that brush. I'm going to use another brow brush just to get the black eyeshadow smudged a little bit. I don't want it going all over, so a precision brush. And just tap the edge of your liner. So it gives you a smoked, subtle smoky liner. Just blend it in like that and just repeat on the other side. And I'm tapering it outwards so you can see the highest point is facing my nose, and just removing the crinkles from the eyes. Really lift your brows when you're doing this so you can really get into those creases. And any mishaps can always be erased with number 8 highlighter. So, going to do my mascara next. Remember, always face it at right angles to your nose instead of trying to go over your nose. I'm going to take off the excess for the bottom lashes because if there's too much of product on your brush, then it does tend to mess the bottom. So just scrape off the excess. And I'm just going to apply a little bit more baked eyeshadow, just to get some definition here. Now they're looking equal. Going to wait for my mascara at the bottom to dry, and while I wait, I'm just going to go with more highlighter underneath my brow. I've just wet my brush, so it's going to look a little bit more intense. Second coat underneath. I think our lashes are ready to go on. Okay, so I grab it in the center with my tweezer like that and just place it on my lashes. And if it's the right amount of tackiness, it just sticks on perfectly. Remember, for the first minute, you will have to press it down on the inner and the outer corners just to get it in there and to make sure that it stays. So mine is still not that tacky. I'm waiting for it to get sticky, and in the meantime I just keep pressing it down, inner and outer corners, and take a brush that I applied it with and just press it down. Okay, and it's still misbehaving, but I'm just going to wait for that to get a bit sticky, and then I will place it down for the last time. Okay, so just be gentle with them, not too much of fiddling while it's getting sticky. Okay, this one's behaving, and that just stuck beautifully. So you can press it down to the contours of your eye, and there we go. Next, I'm going to just spread out that excess glue and press it onto the lash so that it really holds. Often if there's too much of lash glue, it will take a while to stick, so maybe just spread out the glue a little bit more. Flick it upwards. Do the same on the other side. If there's any excess glue, like blobs of glue, just press it down into the lashes and flick the lashes upwards. Any boo-boos can just be fixed with baked eyeshadow. Right, and then I'm going to add more brow powder so that it blends in beautifully, outer and inner. And then I'm going to do mascara and take off any excess pigment or eyeshadow on the lashes with my stamp liner, because it just removes it so beautifully. Rather than using a mascara brush, I get this stuck beautifully. Okay, so I'm just going to flick it up. I'm using my liner just to take out any pigment from the lashes. Flick it upwards, flick up. last, I'm going to do my third layer of mascara at the bottom. But before I do that, I'm going to add a bit more baked eyeshadow underneath. Sweep away anything that fell. Clean up on the nose, because that's generally where eyeshadow specks fall. So just sweep it up, because as the day goes by, it, you start to perspire and then that looks blotchy. So you got to make sure you have all of that off. And I'm going to just spray my face so no more product falls down. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to just apply the last layer of mascara at the bottom and to press my natural lashes into the false lashes. Again, if you have really shaky hands, just steady it with the other hand. So that's today's tutorial, ladies. I'm going to be back in a few minutes just to show you the full look with my hair done and how to just let all of this flow into the Bohemian, into okay, so ladies, I'm going to be back in a few minutes to show you the entire look with my hair done, just so you know what to do with a Bohemian look. But remember, today's look was all about the brows, the brow products that we sell, how to achieve the different types of brow definition with the 3 different types of products. So ladies, I hope you guys learned how to get symmetrical brows and how important it is to get symmetrical brows and to get really defined brows that suits your face shape. I'll be back in 5 minutes.